friends, do you want to learn how to accompany yourself playing jazz piano, but you're not quite sure where to start? Well, this can be a very overwhelming topic for many beginner jazz students because jazz chords can sound really complex. But the truth is that you can get started accompanying yourself even if you're a beginner by learning a very simple 3-note technique, and it sounds amazing. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, for this lesson, we're gonna use the classic jazz tune, I Got Rhythm. I've got rhythm, I've got music. It's a great tune, definitely one worth memorizing. So what we'll do for this lesson is I'll teach you the basic chords, and then I'll show you this amazing accompaniment technique that only uses 3 notes. I've got rhythm, I've got music. Right? Doesn't that sound amazing? So stay tuned for that. All right, what are the basic chords for I Got Rhythm? Well, we're playing this in the key of G major. And the thing with jazz is you don't just play major chords like this, you add sevenths to all of your chords. Okay, so this is called a G major 7 chord, right? Well, it always uses 4 notes for these chords. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more videos just like this. Second chord is an E7. This is called an E dominant 7. Okay, it kind of has a bluesy sound to it, really nice. Next chord is a 2 chord in the key of G, so it's an A7 chord. It's like an A major, but we're adding the 7th, and the 7th is oftentimes a whole step below the root there. And then the D7 is going to look like this, okay? D, F sharp, A, and C. Okay, so these are chords oftentimes used in jazz, and one way to think of these chords is a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. So if you're in the key of G major, right, this is the G major scale, we're starting on a 1 chord, a 6 chord, a 2 chord, and then a 5 chord. Okay, we call this the turnaround chord progression. All right, after our D7 chord, we're gonna go to a B minor 7 chord. Okay, you can play it up here if you want a little brighter sound. Then a really cool chord called a B flat diminished, okay? B flat, D flat, E, and G. Then a quick A minor 7, that's gonna be there. That's the 2 chord. And then our 5 chord, our D7, okay? So at this point, we're sort of playing a lot of the chords that we just played. Next chord is a G major 7, and then a G7 over B, looks like that, real simple. C major 7 is our next chord. It's like that, really simple. Then I love the next chord called a C minor 6. Okay, it's a C minor with an added 6. And then the last few chords here, a G6 over D. That's a G6, that's a D, but you just invert the chord down like this. And then a quick D7, and then back to a G major 7, okay? Now, it's nice to throw in a quick 5 chord here, a little D7, to turn the chord progression back around because we're gonna repeat the verse of the song or the A section. By the way, if these chords are looking kind of unfamiliar to you and you wanna master your 7th chords to play jazz, then check out our Foundations learning track. In this track, you'll learn great exercises to master these chords, plus how to apply them to tunes. So I'll put a link to the learning track below. Now we're gonna repeat this a second time, so a quick review of the chords, and then I'll teach you the B section of the tune, okay? So G major 7, E7, okay, A7, or A dominant 7, and then D7, you're doing a great job. Here's our B minor 7, B flat diminished, A minor 7, and then our D7, right? Getting toward the end here, G major 7, here's the G7 over a B, C major 7, C minor 6, and then our G6 over D, then our D7, and we're gonna end with our G6, okay? So that's 2 times through the A section of the tune. Okay, B section, we go to a very cool chord called a B7. It's like a B major with the added 7. And then we go to an E7, okay? E major with the added 7. Then an A major with an added 7. This is called an A7 chord. And then finally our D7 chord, okay? So on the B section, this is like a 3 chord, and then like a 6 chord, and then a 2 chord, and then a 5 chord. Okay. By the way, the lesson sheet music you're seeing up here on the top left of the screen is downloadable and printable over at pianowithjonny.com. You can also change the key of this entire lesson with the click of one button with our smart sheet music, so I'll put a link to all of that below. All right, once you've learned your basic chords, it is time to learn how to accompany yourself using this 3-note technique. I want to play it once more for you, and then I'll break down what I'm doing. I got rhythm, I got music, right? Really, really cool, and I'm only using 3 notes in each of my chords. So what exactly am I doing? Well, I'm using a technique called the guide tone technique, and here's how it works. Basically, if you take your first chord, G major 7, right? These are the notes. You could think of this chord as 1, 3, 5, and 7, right? These are the notes from the G major scale, okay? 1, 3, 5, 7. And in jazz, it's very common to remove the 5th of each chord because the 5th is kind of the least important note of the chord. And so you're left with the root, the 3rd, and the 7th, okay? Now, the 3rd and the 7th of the chord are called the guide tones, the guide tones. And so in jazz, what's really nice is to put the root on the bottom and then in the right hand play the guide tones, and it has a really nice sound to it. In fact, if you do this on the first chord and you invert the notes, you get this sound, which is a really, really nice sound in jazz, and we're simply taking our major 7th chord and using the guide tones in the right hand. And so if you use this technique on each chord, it sounds really cool. I got rhythm, I've got music, right? So I want to walk you through these guide tones, and then at the end of this lesson, I'll show you some really great rhythms that you can use in your accompaniment. Okay, first chord, G major 7, we're going to play it like this. Our E7, we use the guide tones like this, right? This comes from the E7 chord that I taught you earlier, and it's just the 3rd and the 7th, right? And then the A7, we're going to play it here. And if you are not sure why we use these notes, go back to your A7 chord, right? Here's the 3rd and the 7th, like that, and then we just invert the notes down to this range of the piano, okay? And then the 4th chord here is a D7. We play the guide tones just like this, okay? And this comes from the D7 chord. Now you might be wondering, why do we invert our chords? Like, why don't we just play our guide tones like this? Well, this is because we want to keep our chords close together in the right hand. We don't want to be jumping to all of our chords like this. And so if you invert your chords, you can basically keep all those chords close together and you get some very nice voice leading, okay? Next chord, B minor 7, there's the guide tones. B diminished 7, there are those guide tones, right? Real close by. A minor 7, there's the guide tones. And then the D7, okay? Is this making sense? Let's go on to the next phrase here. There's our G major 7, okay? Our G over B, or G7 over B, here are your guide tones, right? It's a G7 chord, but we put a B in the bass, and then C major 7 guide tones, and then C minor 6, really pretty, okay? And then our G6 guide tones, 3 and 6 will be the guide tones for this one since there's no 7, okay? So guide tones, D7 will be there, and then our G major 7, and then we'll repeat to the D7. Does this make sense? And so it's a really great way to maneuver through the chords. So we're going to play the A section one more time. I'll briefly go over these chords again. Doesn't that sound great? B minor, B flat diminished, A minor, D7, okay. G major 7, G7 over B, C major 7, C minor 6, and then G6 over D, D7, and then G6. You could use a G major 7 on that last chord, or like that. It's kind of up to you. They're kind of substitute chords, okay? B section goes like this. Old man troubles, I don't mind him. You won't find him around my door, right? B7 guide tones, right? E7 guide tones, 3 and 7. Then the A7 guide tones are going to be right there. And then finally our D7 chord will be there. By the way, if you want to master your guide tones and you want to learn them for all the different types of chords in jazz, plus lots of exercises and how to apply them to tunes, check out our courses, Guide Tone Exercises and Play Lead Sheets with Guide Tones courses. I'll put links to both of those below. All right, we're on to step number 3 of playing jazz accompaniment. And now that you have these really great chords, what rhythms do you play? Do you just hold the chord like this? Or there are some common rhythms that you can use in jazz? Well, I want to show you 2 very common rhythms that I love to use, and they're super simple. The first one's called a 4 on the floor, and it goes like this. I've got rhythm, I've got music. It's a very simple technique where we play the chord on each beat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, B, right? And it works really, really well. It's called a 4 on the floor. The second accompaniment technique I love to use is called the Charleston technique. I've got rhythm, I've got music, right? Really, really simple. And what I'm doing is I'm playing the first chord on beat 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm putting the second chord on the and of beat 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so that's a really important rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but it will drive the tune very nicely. All right, the final step is to play this tune with one of the included backing tracks, and this lesson comes with 4 downloadable backing tracks at different tempos, so you can practice along with the band. I'll put a link to those below, and let's go ahead and play with the backing track. Here we go. G, A, B minor, B flat, A to D, G, G7, C major, G, D7, G, D. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.